Hello and welcome. In this session, we'll be looking at C++ references and pointers. A reference variable in C++ is a reference to an existing variable. It is what we commonly call in our society aliases. So think about it, somebody has the name John, but we say that they are also known as Bigger or Biggs, all right? So those are the aliases. Now, here we have declared a variable called food, and this variable food is assigned the value, the name pizza. Now, we create a reference variable in C++ by using the and sign, all right? So here, by declaring meal with the and sign here, we are creating a reference. So this variable is going to be a reference to another variable. In this case, meal is a reference to the food variable. So therefore means that whatsoever food is assigned, meal is automatically assigned the same thing, all right? So if we look at the example down here, if we say food is equal to pizza, all right, it therefore means that if we should output meal, since meal is a reference to food, so here we have string and meal equal to food. That means meal is a reference to food. So whatsoever food has as its value, meal will be seen the same thing. So down here, both of these will output the same thing. All right. Let me just show it in the compiler so you can have a clear understanding. So here we have it. So we declare the variable food, which is of type string, and it's assigned the value. It's assigned pizza. All right. Now meal is created as a reference to food. All right. So meal, notice we have the and sign here that indicates that it's a reference to whatever is here, which is food, and food is assigned the value pizza. It therefore means that if you say meal or if you say food, you're talking about the same thing because meal is an alias of food, all right? So meal is a reference to food. So therefore mean that when we print out food here, we're gonna see the same thing that meal will be showing, which is pizza. When we print out meal here, we're gonna be seeing pizza. All right, so let's just compile this so you can see what we're talking about. All right, so here is the output. So both of them shows pizza as their output, all right, as indicated earlier. Now, notice here that we say food is equal to pizza, and here we create a reference to food, which is called meal. Now, if I should say meal is equal to apple pie here, now whatsoever meal is assigned, because meal is an alias of food, food will become the same value of whatever meal is assigned, all right, and vice versa, because they're both aliases of each other. They therefore mean that when we print out food here, we're no longer going to be seeing pizza, but we're going to be seeing apple pie. And when we print out meal here, we're not going to be seeing pizza, but we're going to be seeing apple pie, all right? So both of them are going to be showing the same thing. Just like if you have an alias, so if your original name is Michelle and you have an alias called Mish, if someone comes and say Michelle, you know that they're referring to you. And if they say Mish, you know that they're referring to you as well, all right? So that is what happens here. We create an alias of a variable or a reference, as it is called in C++. So let's run this and we will see the output. All right, good. So this is our output. So you notice that both of them are showing apple pie as their output. All right, so here we outputted food and meal. And because we have created a reference to food, right? So meal is a reference to food. By assigning a different value to meal, automatically food will be seen that value because they are alias. It's an alias of food. All right, meal is an alias of food or a reference to food. Good. So let's continue. Now, the and sign is not only used to create references. All right, so in the example before, on our previous page, you notice that the and sign was used to create a reference variable. But the and sign can also be used to get the memory address of a particular variable. Now, what we need to remember is that each item that is used in memory in the computer, or each variable that you would have created, is assigned a particular memory address. All right, so basically everything that we do on the computer is actually done from memory. So notice here, we create a variable called food and assign it the value pizza. Now, food is a named memory location. All right, so there's a memory address associated with food. Now, at that memory address, the value pizza would be stored at that address. Now, if we want to know which address or where in memory pizza is stored, we can retrieve that by using our and sign. All right, so if we say cout and food, all right, so if we use our and sign here, we will get the address. All right. All right. So the and sign is used also as the address operator in C++. All right. So this will tell you which memory address. Now, this is what the memory address will look like. It may not be the exact thing on your computer because the memory addresses will be chosen at random. All right. So your variable may not be assigned this exact address. So when you run this program, it's okay if this varies. All right. But you will see an address. All right. So let's try that in our example. All right. Let's try that from the compiler so we can see what's going on. Let me just get rid of this one. Good. All right, so here we have the variable food and so on. All right, so let me just add another line of output that will output the address of food. So I'm going to say cout. So I'll put that text before memory address food is. All right, so to see the memory address of food, we're going to put which is indicating the address of food. All right, so when you run this, we will see the memory address of food. All right, so the memory address where food is actually stored. Let me just put a new line so it breaks the line /n. All right, so we're gonna run this program and we will get to see what the output looks like. All right. All right, good. So this is what the address is. So this is the address for food. All right, so notice it's different from this one. As I said, the address in memory would be selected randomly. It would be different on different computers. And of course, if I run this program again, there's no guarantee that it will be in the same address. All right. So this is the address where food is located. So therefore mean that if you should go into memory and you look at that particular address, you would be seeing apple pie because that is the address where the apple pie will be stored. All right, so that's the address of the variable food. So it's very important that we understand how to retrieve the address of our variables. All right, this will come in handy when we start looking at pointers that we'll be looking at in our next on our next slide. Now we can also retrieve the address of meal or the address of just about any variable that we have created. All right, so by putting the address off sign before it, or what we call the and sign, put it before the variable. That will give you the address of the variable. All right, good. Now we have pointers, and a pointer is a variable that is used to store the address. So notice the link now. So a pointer is a variable that is used to store the memory address of another variable. All right. So a pointer is a variable that stores the memory address of another variable. All right. Now down here, we have a variable food, and this variable food is assigned the value of pizza. Now, the pointer that we create here is called PTR. And if you notice, we create the pointer by putting an asterisk before the variable name. So the pointer is preceded by an asterisk. The name of the pointer is preceded by an asterisk. So we have asterisk PTR is equal to the address of food. So therefore mean that PTR shows the address of this particular variable, all right, which is food. All right, so we're going to look at how we do this in Dev C++. And we're going to also look at how we can dereference the pointer in order to get what is actually stored at a particular location. Now let's look a little further here. So here we have the variable food, and the address of food is stored in the pointer PTR. So PTR is a pointer. How do we know that it's a pointer? Because the name has an asterisk before it. All right, so once you see an asterisk before the name, you'll know it's a pointer. And the pointer is going to be storing the address. The pointer stores the address of another variable. Now, if you should output food by itself, it will just output pizza, print out pizza. If we should output address of food, it's going to show the memory address of food, whatever memory address food is stored. Now, if after creating this line, we should output PTR. Now, PTR, because it stores the address of food, it's going to show the same thing as saying address of food. So it's going to show the address that is stored at the address of food that it's stored. All right. Now, you may be wondering, how can we retrieve the actual value from the pointer? To retrieve the value from the pointer, we dereference it by putting an asterisk before the pointer. All right. Now, we're going to look now in Dev how this is actually implemented. All right. So journey with me as we look at how this is implemented. All right. So here we have, so this is a reference to food. So let's create now a pointer to food. So let me put a comment. So we are creating a pointer to food. And it's going to be a pointer to food. So it's going to be string. And because it's a pointer, you have to put the asterisk PTR. Can be any name. All right. Equal to food. That's the address of food. All right, so remember, the pointer stores the address of another variable. So right now, this pointer is going to be storing the address of food. So whichever memory address food is located, it will be stored there. All right, good. So let me just remove some of this. Let me just comment it out. So we have less work in it. Let me just delete it altogether. All right, good. So here we have PTR storing the address of food. So if we should output PTR, we will get whatever the memory address of food is printed on the screen. All right, so let's try that. And we will notice that we get the memory address of, all right, good. So here's our output. So this shows us the address of food. So this is the address where food is actually stored now. Now, if we should take this a little further, we can dereference. All right, so we can dereference the pointer so that it, all right, so we can dereference our pointer so as to show what the pointer is actually pointing at. All right, so if you want to see what the pointer is pointing at, so for example, if you want to see what is it that is stored at this memory address, we'll have to dereference the pointer. So we dereference the pointer using the asterisk. So you could say cout, and we put an asterisk before the pointer, PTR, and this one will show the actual value. So I'm just going to break this line so we can see a new line. And print up this. All right, so good. So this now will show us two things. It will show us, first of all, what the address of food is, and it will show us back what is stored at this particular memory address, all right, for food. All right, so let me just compile so you can see the difference in the output. All right, so this is our output. So now you notice we're seeing two things. So we're seeing one, we're seeing the address. That is the value that is stored by the pointer. So this pointer PTR is storing the address of food, which is this, a hexadecimal number. And here we dereference the pointer. By dereferencing the pointer, we basically unveil what is stored at the particular memory location. So if you want to see what is stored at this location, we dereference the pointer. Remember, this pointer is what stores the address, and if you want to see what is at the address in terms of what value is there, we dereference it by putting an asterisk before the pointer. All right, good. So that's our basic look at pointer, and we will continue with other presentations in future videos. All right, so thank you for watching.